Angel and company lost that game badly, so the question becomes, how often is she going to deflect blame after a tough loss onto racist comments? But here's the issue facing Angel Reese. After bad losses, she sometimes publicly plays the victim.
What specifically did Angel Reese assert had after the Chicago Sky were soundly defeated by the Indiana Fever 93-58 on May 17th? Skip Bayless publicly criticized her. When you look at the real evidence, Reese's story starts to fall apart faster than the Sky's defense against Caitlin Clark. Ree made serious claims about racist fan behavior during the game, painting a picture of hostile crowds and targeted harassment that allegedly followed her throughout the season.
First things first, let's hear what Angel Reese has to say. Let's hear Angel Reese. And if you guys pay attention, listen to her voice and listen to how she's on the edge of breaking down. Very funny.
Hate speech.
Yeah, obviously there's no place in this league for that. I think the WNBA.
Let's also watch the nervous body language, the nervous twitching. Yeah.
Our team and our organization has done a great job supporting me. I've had communication from everyone, from so many people across this league, and being able to support me and going through this whole process. Obviously, it could happen to me, it could happen to anyone, and I think they've done a great job supporting us in this.
How did it affect you Saturday, trying to do your job, trying to play, and having this going on simultaneously?
Yeah, obviously it's tough, but I think I have a great support system. I'm loved by so many people, and obviously in the moment it's hard to hear, but my support system is great.
Reese's initial allegations focused on experiencing racist taunts from Caitlin Clark supporters, especially during that crushing defeat in Indianapolis, where the accusations surfaced shortly after one of the most humiliating defeats in Sky franchise history, a game in which Clark posted a triple-double while Reese struggled to make any significant impact. The timing of these detailed, hostile remarks near the court suggested that this was an ongoing pattern of abuse she endured as Clark's rival. What do you think?
What do you think the league's response, just coming out right away and getting that investigation going?
Yeah, obviously, like I said, they understand that this is the priority. Obviously, there's no place for this, and they preach. I think 2 days before they put out no hate, no speech. And obviously, the women in this league, they know that, and know there's no space for that. And I believe that every player in this league deserves to be treated with respect and want to come to work and just have fun and have a great environment to work at. So I think they've done a great job putting that out, and we're obviously just going to respond as they need to.
Were you able to?
Damn, I really wish Angel Reese would talk and step up about all of her fans calling people all these nasty names. Oh, how being silent is such a blessing. Such a blessing it is to be silent and have nobody being critical of you.
This is when Reese's story becomes complicated. The WNBA conducted a thorough investigation into her allegations and their conclusions, which were based on data from fans, teams, arena employees, and a thorough video review. Tell an entirely different tale. The league essentially said that Reese's assertions don't fit reality when they said in their official statement that they were unable to corroborate the reports of discriminatory behavior she reported.
Headline: WNBA unable to verify, quote, hateful fan comments, unquote, toward Angel Reese. Okay. Here's the league statement that was issued. We have investigated the report of racist fan behavior in the vicinity of the court during the May 17, 2025 Chicago Sky at Indiana Fever game. Based on information gathered to date, including from relevant fans, team, and arena staff, as well as audio and video review of the game, we have not substantiated it. The WNBA is committed to fostering a safe and inclusive environment for everyone and will continue to be vigilant in enforcing our fan code of conduct. Boom.
Skip Bayless meticulously dissected Reese's story, admitting that racist remarks are present on social media and declaring, "I don't doubt she has read several racist comments on social media and heard some in stadiums." However, Bayless questioned the timing and intent of Reese's specific accusations regarding that May 17th game, asking why he brought them up immediately after losing by 35 points. Why make these assertions when there was no evidence to back them up in the league's own investigation?
I believe the league conducted an extremely thorough investigation of this alleged incident. The players in this league are 60+% Black. And the WNBA is and should be extremely committed to protecting its players from racist comments made to players in the arena during games. But here's the issue facing Angel Reese. After bad losses, she sometimes publicly plays the victim.
Bayless also pointed up a concerning trend he saw in Reese. Following difficult defeats, she would occasionally shift the responsibility by bringing up racist insults she had read online. He cautioned against allowing these remarks to impact performance, adding, "You're not compelled to. Stop using social media harassment as an excuse for bad behavior." The message was clear. Don't let them jail you. You don't have to read them. You shouldn't let them enter your thoughts.
Did a white fan actually yell something out of bounds at Angel after she and Caitlin got into it? She jumped up, as she was in the right to, and tried to go at Caitlin and was restrained by her teammates. I don't know if anything was said. I have no way. I just have to go by what the WNBA said, which was no evidence.
Reese's account of events is being refuted by more and more evidence. The game's video footage depicts typical crowd reactions rather than the hostile atmosphere she described, and witness accounts from arena employees and fans refute her allegations of pervasive racism. Additionally, the timeline doesn't add up. If this harassment was so common and evident, why didn't anyone else notice it during the game? And why did it only become a problem following the Sky's humiliating loss? This seems to be manufactured drama, plain and simple, instead of acknowledging that Clark and the Fever simply outplayed them in every area of the game. She decided to fabricate a racial controversy that never materialized in order to divert attention from her team's appalling performance and her personal difficulties on the court. The league conducted an investigation, but came up empty-handed since there was nothing to discover.
Were racist remarks intended for Angel that night on social media? I'm sure some were. They're always going to be there. But should any of those kind of remarks be used as excuses or blame deflection after bad losses, especially to Caitlin Clark? Look, I'm obviously white. Maybe I just don't get it, but after a while, you say to yourself, come on, Angel, not every single time.
Come on, Angel, not every single time. When players act irrationally on serious issues, it not only hurts Reese, but also undermines the WNBA's reputation as a whole. Problems such as racism, the WNBA won't protect their biggest moneymaker because they're afraid of their own players. Think about how absurd that sounds. You have a sophomore who completely changed your league, bringing in more viewers and money than ever before, and you're too afraid to give her the protection she deserves on the court. This isn't just bad business. It's cowardly leadership that's undermining the league's own success story. It makes it harder for real victims to be believed. The league now has to deal with the fallout from one player's attempt to change history and escape responsibility for being completely outplayed by their biggest rival.
That game on Saturday was live on national TV on CBS. The New York Liberty are, of course, the defending champs of the WNBA. But the main reason that game did a massive TV rating wasn't Breanna Stewart or Sabrina Ionescu. The main reason, obviously, is by far the biggest draw in the WNBA. The reason just about every Fever road game is moved to that city's NBA arena. That reason, that player, is obviously Caitlin Clark.
However, this is where the league reveals its real nature. Rather than defending their cash cow, They're afraid of what the more seasoned players would think if Clark receives preferential treatment. BLASTS did a great job of pointing out that the league is afraid of a player revolt against Clark, as evidenced by the way officials handle her games. They're sending the message that players can abuse her without facing repercussions.
The Indiana Fever, in the loudest, most intimidating arena in the league, got screwed 3 times, not 2, 3 times in the final 12 seconds of a very close game, and obviously got robbed at home, in that home. Fever coach Stephanie White, after the game, called the no call on Bonner egregious. It was. And the foul call on Lexi Hull disrespectful. It was more than disrespectful. Yet neither White nor Caitlin Clark addressed the no call on Caitlin's final shot attempt, probably because they've learned not to fan the flames of resentment against Caitlin Clark any more than they rage already.
Let's discuss specific instances. In the Fever's game against the New York Liberty, BLASTS mentioned 3 crucial late-game calls against Indiana, despite the fact that they were playing at home. Clark seemed to foul out on a possible game-tying shot, but there was no call. Lexi Hull was given a dubious foul call. These weren't remote incidents. They were clear-cut calls that any other elite player would receive, but Clark isn't given that protection because the league is too afraid to grant it to him.
The Liberty at Fever game came down to 3 very late calls, all of which went against Caitlin's team, the home team, in the loudest and most intimidating arena. The Pacers got those calls, not the Fever. So help me out here. 12 seconds left. Caitlin Clark made a sensational bounce pass through heavy traffic in the lane. Just a wizard pass to Duana Bonner, who appeared to get tackled as she shot. Not block shot, just tackled, just rammed. No call. What?
This isn't typical basketball officiating. It sends a message that Clark doesn't deserve the same protection as other players. The league is essentially telling referees not to protect their biggest star. This brought attention to the excessive physicality that is inflicted on Clark without appropriate repercussions from referees. Defenders can be extremely aggressive toward her, and officials just let it slide.
Then on the other end, Lexi Hull of the Fever did a very nice job of just staying right with Sabrina as she drove to her left, did not appear to make any significant contact at all with Sabrina, with body or hand. Foul on Lexi Hull with 2.2 seconds left. What? What foul? The Fever did have a challenge left. I immediately tweeted, challenge! But the Fever, I didn't know at the moment, had no timeouts left to use that challenge. No challenge. And Sabrina, who had just missed 2 free throws, stepped to the line and made both of these. New York up 2. Way to go, Sabrina.
You know what's causing these senior guys to be so uninvolved? It's petty envy from players who feel that Clark's success has eclipsed them. Manage the fact that a rookie entered the league and instantly gained more popularity than players who have been competing for years. Rather than realizing that Clark's success improves everyone's financial situation, they are resentful of the attention she gets.
Now, 2.2 left. Inbounds to Caitlin Clark, who drove hard left on Natasha Cloud, who was all over Caitlin Clark as she went up into her shooting motion just before the buzzer. It sure appeared that Natasha Cloud body fouled Caitlin, rammed her, then hacked her across the wrist, then hit her arm as she attempted to get the shot up. No call. Loose ball. Turnover. Game over. What? No call?
Even give the Indiana Fever coach credit for the skyrocketing television numbers. Stephanie White has raised awareness of this officiating issue, accusing referees of disrespecting the team by pointing to notable free throw inconsistencies and a dearth of favorable calls. When your own coach has to publicly criticize the referees, you know there is a systemic problem with the way the league handles its biggest draw.
You'd better believe that all of the established stars in this WNBA, as well as lots of veteran starters on every other team, constantly, quietly, privately complain to their coaches and to their team executives about Caitlin Clark getting way too much attention and way too much credit for the exploding TV ratings.
When Biss stated that the WNBA is biting the hand that feeds it, he encapsulated the situation perfectly. The league is afraid of an open player revolt or mutiny against Caitlin Clark, so they tell referees not to protect her because they would rather appease envious veterans than support the player who is making everyone else rich. The league is unable to fully capitalize on Clark's popularity and the unprecedented revenue she generates because of their fear of how other players might react. This cowardly approach is backfiring spectacularly because fans aren't stupid. They understand what happens when you don't protect your stars. When you give in to jealousy rather than praising brilliance, you undermine your credibility and harm your product.
The attitude I sense from so many other older WNBA players seems to be, what do we, chopped liver? It's not just her driving these ratings. What have we been doing all these years? Sorry, ladies, but compared to her drawing power, you are chopped liver. You're just going to have to accept that she and she alone is driving the ratings way above what all of you together were able to generate before she first set foot on a WNBA stage.
Why does the Chicago there is a noticeable difference between competitive intensity and what appears to be deliberate targeting, and the Sky consistently cross that line when Caitlin Clark takes the court? The answer becomes clear when you watch their games side by side with other matchups. The Sky don't just play physical basketball against Indiana, they play personal basketball.
Now, Caitlin did have a rookie foil figure opposite her in Angel Reese. And man, Caitlin versus Angel in this year's opener set the all-time WNBA ratings record. But as cool and charismatic as Angel is, as dominant as she is on social media as opposed to Caitlin, the truth is that Angel can't begin to match Caitlin's basketball drawing power when Angel's forte is just rebounding.
As the Sky's frustrations grew, the pattern began early in Clark's rookie season and progressively grew worse. Every time these teams faced up, you could see Sky players aiming for Clark with a degree of hostility they didn't demonstrate this against previous opponents. It wasn't typical playoff intensity or defensive pressure. The contact that basketball players were making seemed to be intended more as a message than as a basketball play.
Petty jealousy kicks in, takes over. Other teams are constantly complaining to the league office about all the publicity and all the credit that Caitlin Clark gets. Even though she doesn't do much on social media, doesn't say much when she's interviewed, just says all the right things, nothing but cliches and platitudes, nothing but respect for all of the older stars in the league. Caitlin's actually pretty boring unless she's playing basketball. Yet this league office is obviously deathly afraid of an open player revolt.
When your team's supposed star publicly displays hostility toward an opponent, it sets the tone for how everyone else approaches that matchup. Reese's teammates noticed her enthusiasm and began treating Clark as though she was a threat that needed to be dealt with. This behavior can be directly linked to Angel Reese's attitude toward Clark. To be eliminated rather than merely another player to take on the Sky created a culture in which pursuing Clark was accepted and even encouraged.
I see are the B's that are being dramatic about Caitlin Clark. That's all I see. They try so long to get respect for women's basketball, and then they treat it like a junior high school girl's locker room. Junior high school girl antics on the court.
Skip the Sky used strategies against Clark that go beyond normal basketball competition. They are routinely more physical with her than with other elite players, and they get away with it because officials won't make the calls that would protect her Baileys. Biss has been outspoken about calling attention to these blatant targeting attempts, and he is correct about what anyone watching can see emphasized how this calculated tactic seeks to reduce Clark's efficacy and possibly scare her. Let's be honest about the motivation behind this behavior. The Sky are angry at being totally eclipsed by Clark's fame and achievements. Chicago believed they had their star in Angel Reese, but Clark took over as the face of women's basketball right away. Rather than improving their own skills to compete, the Sky chose to use mind tricks and extreme physicality to try to drag Clark down to their level.
Now, what little girl wants to grow up and play in a league where you're targeted like that? How do you sit here and profess and demand that everyone take women's sports seriously when you can't even take it seriously enough to not act like a junior high queen on the court? It's stupid. That's so dumb. It looks like a soap opera.
Instead of inspiring admiration for the Sky organization's toughness or competitiveness, this tactic has totally backfired. Fans aren't impressed when you have to employ dirty techniques, since you can't match someone's talent level because they've made themselves appear petty and envious. The contrast couldn't be more stark. Clark plays basketball at an elite level while enduring constant physical punishment, while the Sky appear to be more interested in starting fights than winning games. Clark manages the pressure with professionalism and grace, while the Sky fabricate drama and excuses when things don't go their way. The Sky's strategy has only made Clark more likable and popular while portraying themselves as the obvious villains in this rivalry.
Caitlin Clark controls games with magical wow passes and jump shot logo threes. I'm talking about the female Steph logo threes. And yeah, fans and viewers can't get enough of Caitlin and Angel pushing and shoving each other, really going at it in what has already become the ultimate WNBA rivalry. So come on, ladies. Quit complaining about Caitlin Clark and just accept and embrace that she is the reason all of you ultimately will make far, far more money.
What makes this even more absurd is that as Clark's star continues to rise, the Sky's dirty tactics have made them look small and resentful, while Clark still dominates their matchups and draws huge crowds that dwarf anything the Sky could generate on their own. This creates an epic rivalry for 2025 with the greatest heroes and villains possible on one side. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, a talented professional team focused on playing the right way, and the Chicago Sky, who are envious of Clark's physical prowess and desperate for attention they haven't earned through their play.
So the refs are given the message. They're clearly afraid to protect Caitlin Clark from the bully tactics and the excessive physicality inflicted on her. Heck, I don't know, maybe veteran refs are resentful of all the attention that Caitlin Clark gets. I don't know. That's the way it looked on Saturday. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you, or letting defenders bite that hand.
Angel Caitlin Clark's stars solely benefited from Reese's stage drama, as Rhea was preoccupied with fabricating controversies and playing the victim. Clark was generating previously unheard of income for the league and breaking all previous WNBA viewership records. Clark earned her success through skill and professionalism, while Reese earned her reputation through manufactured drama and dirty tactics. Biss noted that Clark's games routinely break viewership numbers while other matchups struggle to fill seats. You want to support genuine talent over attention-seeking behavior. The 2025 season is going to be amazing when Clark returns even more resilient and driven than before. If you're rooting for Caitlin, leave a comment below, like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you don't miss anything. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next.
Who cares what color they are, as long as they're watching and buying tickets? Is it because she flashes a little attitude during games, a little arrogance, occasionally gets a little heated? What superstar doesn't? I mean, she was first team all WNBA as a rookie, and I won't be surprised if she wins MVP this season.